kid, I used to read a lot of Wattpad, like a lot of Wattpad, something we will soon be able to point to and blame for the downfall of our society. Since I absolutely loved Vocaloid and still do, the main content I consumed on there was, you guessed it, Vocaloid stuff. Specifically, and you're gonna have to be considerate when I say this, Kagamine Len X-Reader fanfictions. I don't know, man, younger me thought he had it going on for some reason. Kagamine Len has always had a very interesting reputation. I mean, he was one of the most commonly memed on characters and has a ton of songs where he's acting a freak. Say so Bakudet's Boy, Gigantic OTN, Spice, you get the point. There were so many things I associated with him that were kind of crazy back then, but one thing that always stood out among the rest that absolutely horrified me in comparison was, why is that version of Len getting all up on that other version of Len? Kagamine Len SELFCEST. When I was a kid, this was terrifying, but not exactly in the way that brought me, like, disgust. I'd just never seen something like this before. It was so strange and novel. It, like, floored me. And from that, I became kind of intrigued. Because, like, in the real world, it's physically impossible to have two of the same person in love with themselves. But since it's possible in fiction, and you're like, okay, well, clones are real now, the next thing that comes to you are a bunch of questions. How is this physically happening? What makes this Len different enough from this Len for this relationship to work? And who exactly came up with this and why? So I started looking up stuff about SELFCEST and found myself having a question I didn't consider at all being answered, with that question being, is SELFCEST problematic? Ew, this is so gross! No, this is cursed! That's literally himself! Lencest? It has cest in the name. You know what else has cest in the name? Incest! Being like, what, 10? I saw all of these people talking about how gross and immoral SELFCEST is, and immediately copied them, because if they're older and they like Vocaloid, they must be right. Yeah, Lencest is gross, it's the downfall of society, Lencest killed my grandma! But after a few years of thinking, yeah, Vocaloid SELFCEST is just as immoral as incest, I thought to myself, wait, is it though? And like thinking about it a little more, I just couldn't come up with any reasons why they were similar, so here is my defense for SELFCEST. Now, I can totally see why SELFCEST would weird someone out. After all, it's the same character twice. It looks a bit jarring and quite frankly is jarring. But I don't think it's actually bad, and certainly not as bad as incest. Incest is immoral. Hopefully that isn't a hot take. In real life, incest is 100% of the time abusive, and many people in the real world who were in incestuous relationships often refer to them as just that. Abusive. When you're related to someone, there is always going to be a form of toxic power imbalance involved. This is why incest gives people the ick. It's understandable, but comparing that to SELFCEST, there's really no commonalities between the two. Have you ever been asked the question, what would you do if you could clone yourself, and then heard someone else give an answer that was like, freaky? Because I'm sure when you heard that answer, your reaction wasn't, ew, that's weird, why would you do that, that's incestuous. You likely wouldn't have thought that, because how is it incest if it's yourself? If incest is harmful because of the familial ties and power imbalances between the two people, how is SELFCEST even close to that? You're getting down with yourself. There can't be an unhealthy power imbalance because you know yourself, your boundaries, and the things you want. You also wouldn't want to harm yourself either. If you really think about it, SELFCEST is actually a cartoonishly harmless type of depiction because of all this. It's akin to self-love, except you're getting it from a second conscious version of yourself. If you clone yourself and get down, that's not really any harm in the same way as incest, not even close. Which is why the comparison doesn't work to me. And this isn't even going into discussions about the artistic value SELFCEST can have. If you're creating a character, wouldn't it be interesting to think about how they would react to meeting themselves, or a step further, how they'd react to having to love and be intimate with themselves? The only real similarity between SELFCEST and incest are the names of each, which, wow, SELFCEST community, great job at making yourself sound normal. Why would you call it that? So yeah, that's my case in defense of SELFCEST. You're not wrong if it personally grosses you out. I just feel like the comparison to incest is a bit disingenuous, since one of these depictions is harmful and another is not. And now back to talking about SELFCEST in relation to Vocaloid, because this is what the video is about, and there's so much of it in so many forms in our community. Vocaloid is hands down the best medium for this kind of shipping, in my opinion. Vocaloid is a form of expression in which the characters can be anything and everything you've ever wanted them to be. Anything everything you say goes. You are the creator here, and with so many different variations of characters, there's a lot to play around with when it comes to SELFCEST. One major avenue for Vocaloid SELFCEST is shipping Project Diva modules of the same character together. It's also the avenue I've noticed is the most common. It's also my personal favorite. I initially got the idea to make this video because I've been replaying Project Diva X, which is a game that puts so much emphasis on the different outfits called modules the characters have. The game not only emphasizes them by giving them special abilities in the gameplay and making you grind the life out of yourself to unlock them all, but by giving them different personalities based on the aura that they embody. For example, in the game, Ribbon Girl Miku has a more energetic Genki Girl personality because she's from the cute cloud, while Liar Miku has a more mellowed out suave personality because she's from the cool cloud. It doesn't even end there. Since the personalities each module is given in Diva X are kinda basic, fans often take it upon themselves to get more specific. Since I opened the video talking about SELFCEST, I might as well use it as an example. A really popular SELFCEST ship I remember from back in the day was Starmine x Strangely Dark. The appeal of this one was that Starmine was optimistic and openly loving, being that he's from Fireflower, a love song from Len to Rin about how much she means to him. Strangely Dark, on the other hand, is more pessimistic and unstable, being that he's from Paradichlorobenzene, a song where Len is experiencing every symptom of mental illness under the sun. Two characters like this being in a relationship would be the cutest thing freaking ever to me. Strangely Dark having someone there for him who's calm, consistent, and just a positive force in his life would be so cute. He'd be loved even though he likely feels like he doesn't deserve to be. And Starmine would get like the cutest boyfriend ever. Like, come on. I love stuff like this. Like, I'm physically unable to express just how much I love the concept of giving modules personalities based on the meanings of the songs they're from. It's such a huge part of the fun of Vocaloid. It shows appreciation for the worlds created by each song, by the character designers. It scratches the perfect itch in my brain. Though I prefer the ships where it's not the same character, like Demon Star and Astral! It's really fun to explore these characters, the songs, the art through shipping, despite them having the same base. I could talk about this in Project Diva for hours, but there's other forms of self-shipping in this fandom that I also want to talk about. The next one being Project Sekai. Have you ever thought about what a relationship between Wondershow Miku and Nightcord Miku would be like? Because I just did, and it sounds so cute! Oh! How about More Jump Luca and Wondershow Luca? Leonid Rin and VBS Rin, Nightcord Mako and VBS Kaito, Wondershow Kaito and More Jump Mako, Leonid Mako and— sorry, this video is about SELFCEST, not Kaime. Any of these combos sounds so cute. And it's not just me. Plenty of other people have thought about this kind of thing too. I'm looking at you. Yeah, you watching this video, the person who clicked on this video because you're one of the Kaito people. Don't think I don't know you. I know everything about you. Mokai Vikai Rekai on top! But no, seriously guys, the Kaito community has the practice of SELFCEST perfected to a T. Like, if it was a competitive sport, there's not even a chance for anybody else to win over a Kaito person. Maybe the SELFCEST shippers from back in the day could have a chance, but even then I severely doubt it with the power of I've seen it firsthand. The Kaito people are powerful. But Project Sekai is such a good outlet for SELFCEST shipping, given that, like, you know, you have, similarly to in Project Diva X, the different sekais that have their own different worlds and their own like attributes to them, which helps fuel each character's personalities. And each personality within the sekais is extremely different. Like, every Vocaloid from the Nightcord Sekai has a different personality. Len is super sheepish, but Kaito is the way he is. It makes for so much variation with all of the vocal synths that it can make SELFCEST shipping even more interesting. Another form of Vocaloid SELFCEST is shipping characters from other songs. This is a lot like the Project Diva stuff, which it's pretty obvious why. It's just a design and then the song that they're based on that influences their personality. The only difference is that this is for characters that Sega has not touched. So maybe they have a bit less reach depending on how popular their song is. If it's really popular, they might have more. But see, there's so much more potential here because you have so many more songs and so many more designs to dip into, like an infinite world of that, because Vocaloid is infinite. Like, let's think of some ships right now. Imagine if Magical Cure Love Shot Miku and Magical Girl in Chocolate Miku kiss. Magical Girl for Magical Girl? And what about Copycat Gumi and Piece of Art Gumi? And how about Minimum Rage Teto and Billionaire Buffet Teto? Guys, I thought I was a genius for coming up with this one, and genuinely, I think I am. The minimum wage worker, and then the girl who kills the fat cats and feeds them to her as a gift. Your boss is making you work too hard? The corporation is killing you? Bro, I'll kill the corporation and feed them to you. Who's winning now? I'm not gonna smile, eat the corporation. And finally, a form that's probably the most intriguing since there aren't songs like with modules or literal song characters, or strong concepts behind them like the sekai characters. A form that's heavily reliant on fan interpretation, shipping them with the other versions of their own voice banks. I find this kind of SELFCEST to be super interesting and the closest when it comes to embodying what SELFCEST would be for canon characters and not vocal sense. And I personally really like this one too. It doesn't scratch the same itch as the modules or the song characters, but it does scratch the itch of I love Vocaloid and I love this voice bank, and seeing the differences between them and how they would interact if they were canon characters that's like really interesting to me. I really like it. It scratches a different itch, and as an example, this would be like shipping Miku V2 with Miku V4X. Now, the base Vocaloids don't actually have personalities, obviously, so what do? We make them up based on any context we do have about the voice bank. Miku V2 was the first iteration of her, and Miku V4X is known to be a lot more high-tech and is just more used nowadays. Maybe Miku V2 has some sort of complex about this, wanting to be recognized again like Miku V4X is today. And maybe Miku V4X is self-conscious because she lacks Miku V2's charm. Or maybe she's pompous about being better than Miku V2. Or maybe she's both, acting haughty on the outside and being completely insecure on the inside. That makes the angst go so freaking hard, guys! This concept of different voice banks having different personalities is something you also see a lot in the aforementioned Kaito fandom, and again, it was also a thing in Len fandom. I would see a lot of people shipping Append and Act 2 back in the day. When the voice bank's personalities are based on small stuff in the real world, it actually, again, scratches the brain. I can't say it enough. I keep saying it, but I can't say it enough. Especially when those real facts intermingle with the headcanons the fandom has of them for their general personalities. Like Miku V4X being pompous not only connects with her high quality, but also with the fandom's princess idea of her, because some people had canon her as having a Ohime-sama personality because of World is Mine. Seeing the little places where it crosses over, it's so interesting. This is such an interesting fandom that we have. You really can't find this thing in any other fandoms because of how special Vocaloid is. Vocaloid is such a great place to indulge in this. And with that, that's the video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was a fun watch because I love talking about stuff within Vocaloid that's been with me through my entire life. And to any SELFCEST shippers watching this, cheers! Also, pick a better name for this. Oh my god. People on Twitter have told me that some people say mirror shipping, which I like a lot more. I think that's really cute. Someone also said doppelbanging. Really unique term. So sorry I haven't uploaded in almost a month. I've been working on some stuff you guys will hopefully see the results of soon. So thank you for your patience. And be sure to keep living because that's the only way things can get better. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye!